major part of America. Now, we've heard lots of speeches on this floor that we're going to replace oil. I wish they were true. I wish that was possible. But what we've decided in America is we're not going to produce oil. We're going to restrict it because, much of our government, government owns a lot of the oil in America. They have control of all offshore. 80% of that's been locked up by 3 presidents, and all the Congresses in the last 26 years have voted to literally not produce energy. And Brazil, who's energy independent, everybody said it's ethanol. Well, ethanol is a piece of it. It's a nice piece of it. But they've opened up their outer continental shelf, and I think they just found one of the biggest finds ever off of South America just in the last week. And Brazil is producing offshore like we ought to be producing. But oil is what scares me. Number one, we're not producing it, so we're part of causing the shortage in the world. Number two, we're gaining dependency on foreign, unstable governments 2% a year. And I think if we pass the energy bill that I hear rumored about, it'll probably be 3% a year. And I hear people say, oh, we're going to be energy independent. Well, there's no way in our lifetime, probably my lifetime, some of you may be younger, but that we can be energy independent. We can be less dependent. And I'd like us to be energy independent, but we can only be less dependent. But this one just keeps marching on. And why is it 95? Well, we have countries like China who are producing energy all over the world. They're locking up oil and gas reserves in every part of the world. Every part of the world. They're going to be producing less than 50 miles off of Florida with Cuba, as are 5 or 6 other countries. In our waters, actually, they're going to be producing oil that we should be. But we've locked up those 200 miles offshore, cannot produce there. So my biggest fear, and I just asked the question, what if one unstable Middle Eastern country topples? What's it do to the price of oil? What if we have a storm like Katrina? What's it do to the price of oil? What if the terrorists struck a couple of refineries, some pipelines, some loading stations in foreign countries where we get a lot of our energy? What happens to the price of oil? I say, will China stop anytime soon purchasing us? I predict in the near future you're going to see China announcing a major oil coup with a major supplier that's been part of our supply system. That's what they're doing. They're out there locking it up. It's interesting, in the summertime, we get 20% of our gasoline from Europe. This spring, we had $3.09 gasoline in my market. We have $3.09 now at $63 oil. We now have $90-some oil, and we still only have $3.09 gasoline because gasoline has not yet caught up with the oil price. Plus, at the end of the summer, there was a surplus of gasoline. This spring, when the driving season started, Europe was short of gas themselves, and so they couldn't supply us with the gasoline they normally did. So there was a shortage on the market, and of course that runs the marketplace up. So $3.09 gasoline was abnormal, just as abnormal as $3.09 gasoline is in America today with $95 oil. We're probably looking at $3.49, $3.50 gasoline would sort of be the price if it was being used out of today's oil and with not a surplus of supply. Here's a chart that tells what we use. 40% petroleum, 23% natural gas. Now, this figure has grown a lot because 12 years ago, or 13 years ago now, we took away the prohibition of using natural gas to make electricity. And we've went from 8 or 9% of our electricity being made with natural gas. We only allowed it to be used for peak power in the morning and evening when we have to turn them on and off. And a gas generator is cheaper to build, doesn't take very long in comparison to other generators. But now we produce 23%, and that number's growing every day, and it will really grow. Coal, 23%. Nuclear, 8%. Hydroelectric, 2.7. Biomass, 2.4. Geothermal, 0.36. Wind, 0.12. Solar, 0.06. Now, let's say, here's where our future lies. And the only one that's really growing is biomass. And how's that growing? Well, we're using it to heat factories. Wood waste has now become a commodity. We're using it to dry. I'm from Pennsylvania, the hardwood capital of the world. We're now drying most of our wood with wood waste instead of using fuel oil or natural gas because it's cheaper. 1 million Americans will heat their homes this year with wood pellet